As Nicole mentioned, this is, I guess, kind of the second part, if you will, the second hour. This is a more residential based. Sharon and Jane, we've known them for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. They used to live up here in cold, dreary Maryland, and they retired at a very young age and are now down in beautiful, warm, can you tell I'm jealous, Sarasota, Florida. And they do single family and have had great success. They've done, over 100 deals. And what's wonderful about what they do is that they do exactly what the sponsor of the of Teaching Tuesdays for Residential, which is the virtual REI Academy, which teaches you all sorts of different strategies on how to buy property, not just how to wholesale and not just how to rehab, but a bunch of other stuff. And they've probably implemented 99% of those. So they're the perfect people to actually teach this part for the virtual REI Academy. But I'm not sure exactly what the topic is today, Sharon and Jane, but I think I will pass it over to you.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you, James.
First off, we're coming from event relationships are we preach that all the time. It's not the topic tonight, but we had an event at a studio we have ties with down here, and it was an entrepreneur event. So it went kind of long and some networking. So, that's very important. So, not only do you have to act on what you're doing, but you have to keep the networking. We met some phenomenal people from all over. So we, and of course the subject always turns to real estate, which we're happy about. So we had people in different things that they do TED Talks. They help write books just for credibility and other things. But a lot of people do have interest in real estate. So we got to talk about real estate a lot. Met some cool people, and unfortunately we had to shut down, and now we're in the car. But tonight we're trying to do this like once a month, is like pitch a deal. So we were hoping, people had a deal they wanted to talk about, or a deal to see if it made sense. So we're kind of, hoping to open it up and somebody can pitch a deal, and, we can all collaborate and talk about whether it's a good deal, bad deal, or
brainstorm and try to find some creative ways to make the deal work.
By the way, I've got the website up so they can see your pictures, so they know who they're talking to.
Thank you.
So I see we have a good crowd on here. Does anybody have any deals that they've put an offer in, they're thinking about doing?
Trying to structure it.
Anybody? We have a couple, but
this is my first time. My name is Carol. This is my first event with y'all, and I'm just here just to network and learn. I'm a newbie in the industry, so I'm just trying to grasp the knowledge so I could take massive action.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Where are you from, Carol?
Baltimore.
Okay, awesome. Well, we had a lot of properties in Baltimore, and sometimes it's just problematic with long distance and stuff, but that's kind of where we got our start with rentals, and had quite a few there in Baltimore, so nothing wrong with that. And it's probably not too cold there, right?
No, it's not too cold at all right at the moment.
Right. So what are you looking to do? Are you trying to get a grasp on wholesaling or rentals?
Yes.
Or
I'm trying to get a grasp at wholesale at my first level.
Okay, gotcha. Did you put in any offers this week?
No, well, I'm doing the cold calling type of thing now.
Okay, good. How many calls did you make this week?
Well, I made maybe about a handful yesterday. I haven't made any today. I'll be doing some tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. That's a handful more than most people made this week, so you're already above the game. And then, how are you getting your leads?
I have this website called Deal Driven.
Okay.
And it pulls up vacant properties, and all other different types of filters to get like a listing of off-market properties.
Okay, good. And how did the cold calling go? Were people receptive, or they hang up on you and call you a name, or?
A lot of well, I've been pulling from True People Search, so I've been getting a lot of bad numbers. Maybe one person say they're not interested right now, so I'll give her a couple of weeks and call her back.
Okay, good. All right,
Nice.
you're doing a lot more than most people, so just keep it that. And we haven't heard of that particular site that you're using, so maybe we'll check that out, or everybody else could check that out. So thanks for bringing that to us, and glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they want to say? A deal
To go over?
Doug, how we doing with yours?
Hi, this is Freddie.
Hi, Freddie.
Hey, I was just I run a meetup so here in the Baltimore area, and just we've been having some people that do a lot of the single family and just trying to connect people, talk to people, and just in the conversations. In this area, somebody mentioned that they do 80% ARV because it's so competitive. Have you seen that in some places?
Yeah, it just depends on, we're so conservative. We're really super conservative. I think we've always done 65%. We know people in Florida that do 95%. So it depends on your level of comfort. Our level of comfort is very conservative, and we're never going to buy a house just to buy it. I do know people that do that. I just, that's not for us. We don't recommend you do that. That's where people get kind of hurt with that. But certainly the nicer areas, you can go up to maybe 70, 75 and kind of get away with that. But, again, it's your level of comfort, and I like to sleep at night. So that's not my level of comfort.
I hear you. Yeah, no, that's what I thought. But then I was interested to hear that because, I mean, a long time ago, yeah, it used to be 65% here, and then I saw some people, then 70, everybody was using, but just recently I heard 80. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
80.
I'll tell you, in Florida, the people here are still like crazy. They're 90, 95%. They don't,
Some will go over.
yeah, they'll go over. It's just, it makes no sense to us. We learned the Baltimore way, kind of. So we learned in Maryland, which was, conservative, and we couldn't understand how they did things down here, because they were, we knew guys buying houses for 250,000, putting 30 in and getting 1,200 rent. And in Baltimore, we were all in for 60,000, getting 1,200 rent. So this made no sense to us. We just haven't left that conservative.
And as a matter of fact, the last 2 months, we have been approached by different investors who kind of are in a situation. So we're doing consultation work to help these investors out of a jam. They're paying us for our time and to restructure their deals for them, to instead of losing money, that they're actually making money by doing, having them offer people owner financing with interest rates and selling it for a little bit higher so that they can either break even or make a little bit more money, because they were, some of these situations that some of these investors are in, they're like, they'll be lucky if they sell it off right now to make half of what they have out on it, what they put into the house.
And a lot of times it's not their fault. It's like somebody else was guiding them, along and saying, hey, I'll do all the work, and we'll, I'll take a little cut, but I'll do all the work, just buy this property. And, they weren't as versed in the real estate world, and they didn't, they just kind of trusted somebody else to kind of do the right thing. And then things didn't go that way. So
they got taken advantage of. So we are helping direct them to get the house back from under the other companies. And then we're guiding them how to structure it the right way. So they won't get hurt. So I think there's going to be a lot more of that out there, because last year we were helping other investors that were friends of ours getting out of hot water as well, when they've bought too high, and now the market's coming back down, and the days on market are longer. The interest rates are up to the normal range of 6.5 to 7.5, where they were like 2 to 3%. So people were able to buy a little higher, but now the days on market and the numbers are going back down. So this is where we're more comfortable with investing.
So can I add something here?
yes,
Nicole.
absolutely.
So there are there are times when you can buy, and I have done it, higher than, 65 or 70%. But I am pretty sure how I'm going to exit that, what my
Yeah.
strategy is going to be and what my exit is going to be. And so, and that's actually something that we talk about in some of the classes on the virtual REI Academy. So James and I actually took over a house in Hagerstown that was a really, really, really nice house. But it was it was pretty much what was owed is what it was worth. And so the strategy we used was to get a 20-year kind of deal where we were just taking over the payments, but that we could get out whatever we wanted to. So if you have time as your exit, so if you can set the terms, something like that may work, but you really need to know what you're doing.
Yes.
So because and the rents need to be able to cover what the mortgage payment is plus some. So you have some profit and you can pay for repairs and stuff. So it's not that it can't be done, but you need to know, what your exit is going to be and what strategy you're going to use. And that's actually one of the big benefits, I think, of the virtual REI Academy, is that we end up throwing lots and lots of leads away because not everybody wants to sell their house at 65% of value minus repairs, right? I mean, people just, they can't, or they don't want to, or whatever. And so there's a lot of leads that kind of just go missing because people don't have more than one or two strategies in their back pocket. Enough said, I think.
Yeah, that's a
No,
great
thank
point.
you. That
That's,
makes sense.
if you're buying the house outright, then you're going to, your acquisition price is going to be lower at the 65 to 70, 75 at the highest. But if you do structure, like Nicole said, where you're, buying on terms or some sort of seller carry, then you can buy it at a, closer to their asking price.
Do you find that because of what you've learned in terms of the different strategies and stuff like that, you can present an offer with, 2, 3 options? So it's not like yes or no, but which one of these do you want to execute on?
Absolutely. It's nice to be able to add, 3, like you said, 3 options. One all cash offer where you're 65 cents on the dollar, 70 cents on the dollar. One where it's, you'd pay higher if it is complete owner finance, or if you have to bring some money to the table, maybe half and half, then somewhere in the middle in between. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I like the subject twos where you just take over the payments.
Oh yeah, those are nice, and those are going to be popping up. A lot of our investor friends and I've been saying, across the country, a lot of them are popping up now in the Houston and Dallas area. We have a group of friends that they're saying that they're coming out of the woodwork. So
Yeah,
those
so
deals
learn
are
how to
very
do it
much.
now.
Yes, yes. Absolutely.
Does anybody have any deals they want to kind of go over, or we're kind of saving this last Tuesday of the month to kind of pitch things or brainstorm over?
I can put up the
deals.
deal that wholesaler sent to me. I mean, I'm not really doing anything with it, but if it's a learning tool, I don't mind sharing. Let me see if I can share the
Hold on, please.
Dropbox.
Sure.
Let me let you share the screen. Is that what you want to
No,
do? You want to
I'm
share
not
your
on.
screen
I'm not on my computer. I'm on my
on your
my
phone?
phone. But I think I just sent the Dropbox actually to the chat. So if you want to pull it up, and I can tell, I didn't even really get as far as running comps or anything, but I could tell you what the wholesalers were telling me, and then just kind of like brokers, it's like obviously taking it with a grain of salt. But
All right.
I was
here's-
I was talking to another a friend of his that wholesales as well, and I kind of asked, that's what I was asking him. I was like, hey, how are you guys doing this at, or how does it make sense? And he was just like, well, if you do it at 80%, it makes. I was like, oh, okay. So, but are people doing that? Let's
Uh,
see. Yeah, that's
I've got
it. Yeah,
pictures. Yep.
there's plenty of pictures to see you, so they sent a lot.
Let me, where is this, if you don't mind? Don't give the address, but where is it? Like
Laurel.
Laurel, okay. Did they give you any numbers that you wanna?
They said they said 500 ARV. Yeah, I looked at some stuff. I think it's maybe between 480 and 490 now if we don't even. But just quickly, I just looked at it real quick, nothing like in depth, and then they wanted 310 for it.
Wow.
Freddie, go back several. I want to see that roof line again. Not that one, two more, back two more. That one.
Wow.
What do you see there?
Gutters, roofs, joists,
I'm
fascia.
looking. Well, I see all of that, but do you also see the bow? Kind of that bow in the roof?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody care to comment about that?
Sure.
What do you think that means, Ernie?
The
What would you
problem.
do?
You just got some settling, some sagging. So this probably is a mid 60s kind of house. The it has a 15-year architect or a 15-year 3-tab shingle on it. The fascia boards are just kind of falling off. Those are just kind of they look like they're had some wood, maybe some vinyl on the outside of it or something, but that stack that's up there, they have that's usually from an old floor furnace. That's fuel oil service furnace that's in there.
Yeah, I also see that when you have got some joist problems sometimes in the basement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ground, I mean, it's very low. So it's either got to be a super, super small crawl space or it's a slab, which most of the time these are small crawl spaces. And with them being on the ground like that, you'll typically have your outside band sills that will be kind of rotted, water damage, termite damage or something maybe. So yeah, typically when you have some outside bands that fall in most of your loads on the outside walls, yeah, you'll get that roof sag.
Mhm.
Hey, air conditioning.
Does that mean you're gonna be changing more than just the roof, just some actual? I guess would they be just joists or beams?
Yeah, you could certainly. But most of the time it's kind of with this siding like it is, then it makes it a little easier to go through and do those outside band sill repairs because you can just kind of remove those sections of siding and then do the repairs and then go back and put it back in. So that's a lot lower, smaller cost than it would be if it was brick, because then you'd have to do everything from underneath. And then that just, causes a lot more cost. But the other stuff, I mean, it's kind of one off. Like you'd have to kind of find where the problem's at, handle those issues first, and then everything starts from the foundation, right? So you have to start from the foundation, work your way up.
Yep.
Okay, so excuse me, what overall would seeing this? What would overall be your synopsis concerning
What-
the
What would
the
the RF be if this was in really good shape? What do houses like this sell for?
He was saying that this was going to be in the 5, but he was saying that kind of the ARV is going to be about 480 to 490 in today's market.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had a question relatively with looking at the pictures of the house. What would you say necessarily would be, because in order to determine your ARV or based on the ARV to know exactly what you would consider to pay for the house or the price that you would make the offer on the house, based on the repairs, what would you say around about what the repair cost would be?
Well, if, kind of what, Jane and Sharon are talking about, like they're going in at 65%. So the $480,000 value, if it's the ARV, would put you at 65% is 312,000. And that's not including the repair or any repairs. That's just a straight off the value, 65%. So on a house like this,
Oh, yuck.
I'm just from looking at it, I would say easily you're in a $75,000 to $100,000 renovation cost.
Yeah.
Because you got
And in that area, it's going to be even more. The rehab cost is going to be higher for that. That's
certainly. So, I mean, let's just say it's 100,000 just to take simplicity numbers, right? So then if I'm at 312, then I would have to subtract out kind of roughly that 100,000. So now we're at 212. So that's really where you're needing to be at to make an offer on. And that's not even including, your profit margin, different things that are in there too. But so to me, on the high level, like, yeah, I would say no on this one.
Sorry about that. My phone died and I just rented the.
No, Ernie just bought the house.
Great.
he's looking for two more.
That's the color of money.
The bad news is he's only going to give you $50,000 for it.
That's right.
Okay, I'll take it.
So from a single family house, I mean, this would fall like black mold, and obviously there's ways to repair it, but it seems like it's pretty extensive where they just actually even started cutting the bottom of the sheetrock.
Mhm.
Do you need to get that, Adam? I know every state is different and stuff like that. Do you need to get that remediated, or you just strip it down to the studs and just build again and you're good to go if you find out where the leak is?
From the outside of this thing, it looks like it's kind of a split level. So this is most likely that's what's down in that lower basement area.
Right.
And it was
Right.
probably something where you're, depending on the topography of the land, it's kind of what you're going to get into on the outside. So, or you have to do a French drain, or you have to do some kind of water retention or something to drive that water away from the house, so you're not going to have that continued problem. And then ideally, yeah, to your point about the black mold, yeah, you can get it remediated. That would be the quick and easies to have a company come in and do that. Then you'll kind of get a paper certificate saying the house is cleaned. And then that could be, whatever that cost is, 8,000, 10,000, 24, it can be up there. And that's kind of the same thing with like asbestos, you depending on, because the asbestos, there's a different priority to how you have to, in regulations as far as being able to remove it, and landfills it has to go to specifically. So with the black mold, it's not as much. Most of this stuff people just kind of rip down and.
I would also add that a lot of people who see that think it's black mold, but it well may not be. Black mold is fairly uncommon actually. So if you have questions, you get it tested, and that's fairly cheap to just send it off and get it tested. Because if it's not black mold, you've just saved yourself $10,000–15,000.
Yeah, but to your point, like people look at that and like, what color is it? Black. Oh, it's black mold. So it's like, it's the lack of knowledge that they don't understand. So that's kind of both on the seller side and on the buyer side. So if you know that that's not necessarily black mold, but the seller doesn't, then you automatically have some additional knowledge that they don't.
Yeah, good point.
That's
Not
why
sure if you guys went a little bit over numbers when I was off the phone, but yeah, they wanted 490 and they no, sorry, it's ARV is about 490 and they wanted 310. It's about 1,400 square feet.
Yeah, the 310 is automatically right at the 65%. That's not including any rehab costs in it.
Well, that ain't good then.
I think Ernie was saying probably closer to two even, 210, something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, looking at that house just in the pictures, I mean, it's easily, we're saying 75 to 100,000, or I was saying 75 to 100,000, but it's, we're using $100,000 as kind of the go-to number for the Baltimore area. And of course, the pictures only tell so much of the story.
For yeah, I had it about I think $75 a square foot, which yeah, a little closer to 120 probably.
Cool. Thanks, Freddie, for bringing that.
And then you're not even sure if the systems are working. And I think Nicole was alluding to it might be like some foundation issues, and like the way that the door's canted and the windows are canted, that might be an issue too. It's hard to tell because I'm on the cell phone, but looking at it, I almost thought I thought Nicole was alluding to it, and I thought I saw some maybe foundation looking issues as well.
Yeah, most likely you do have some in this because of the excessive amount of water that's happening, both in that lower section than the very low area back there on the ground side.
Great.
Yeah, this unfortunately is one of those houses that would be, I think, a full strip down to studs. You're gonna peel back that onion, those layers of the onions a lot, and then you're gonna find that there's gonna be water damage to some of the foundation, the band sills, and then you're going to get into now restructuring those components, and that's just adding into the bill. And those alone can cost you into the 20s and 30,000s of dollars range.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. Plus, I think in the very first slide, now understand my rehab knowledge is way dated at this point, and I haven't really done this in a long time. But that tree that was sitting right by the front door, I'm not sure that wouldn't have to come down, because it looks like it is certainly undermining something there. It looked like. Certainly,
Yeah, I mean that's probably far enough away, but you could have some cracking in the sidewalk, which I think might look like a little bit.
yeah, you're
That's kind of raised up, but you have a lot of the overgrowth that's over top of the roof and all, which that doesn't help matters too much.
yeah, I agree now. It looked when I first saw it like that tree was a lot closer.
But now, as far as all the other overgrowth that's around it, the bushes and all that stuff,
Yeah.
that's definitely not helping it.
Yeah, the other thing I would say just in general, Freddie, if you don't have a lot of experience in rehabbing, this one wouldn't be one to start with, because this is a really a big job. And there's a lot of places it can go wrong. But I would be
Yeah,
interested
no,
in
I
what
said
Ernie
I
thinks.
told him it's a pass for me immediately, just because even just based on numbers, strictly numbers, I was like closer to like what 220.
220 on the acquisition is still way too high. That's not including any of your rehab cost. You would have to pick that thing up into the like 150 range. Because
Wow.
you're dealing with what else are you dealing with? The windows that is there. You can see the AC unit in the windows, so there's no and probably up in Baltimore you don't really need AC, but you most likely only have a heat source that's in there.
No,
It
it
gets-
has
it gets hot.
a unit on the other side, but it was weird that I saw that too. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, most of the time when you see the AC units, it's because they don't have air conditioning in the HVAC system.
Or the AC part of the heat pump, which is on the other side, isn't working.
Yeah, which obviously that just says, hey, guess what? You get another dollar sign in there.
Well, on a positive note, I think because it's a little bit up on a rise, it presents pretty well. And if you saw the last picture, that looks like there's a big park across the street. which is kind of can be attractive for a first time home buyer, but 500 grand, I'm not sure if that's a first time home buyer anymore.
It might be in Baltimore.
True. What would this house be worth in North Carolina, Ernie?
As it is, probably in the twos.
Rehab?
What it would be worth afterwards, maybe
Yeah.
only like 375, 400.
Okay. All right, that's not that far off.
But it also depends on what side of town.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
So as is in North Carolina, it would be worth what? As is.
As is, you know,
Yeah.
it'd still have to be the same numbers. I mean, you'd still have to pick that up, you know, well into the mid 100s.
So Laurel is depends on what part of Laurel you're in, but I would call it somewhere between a B and a C. Some parts are closer to C, and some of the parts that have been renovated and stuff like that are closer to B or B minus. So I don't know how relative that is to what you're speaking about in North Carolina.
Well, I mean, I mean, for us, I mean, like looks like maybe about a 2,300 square foot house. I mean, it's got some square footage to it for sure. It's a split level, so you'll have that typically your living room, kitchen, dining room scenario. Then you'll have like one bedroom and a bathroom over on the right, and then or two bedrooms, bathroom over on the right, and then downstairs you'll usually have a fireplace and, you know, your downstairs kind of family room, and then you will have kind of a section that's going to be your mechanical, that's going to be one other side. Sometimes it's a garage that's over there on that low end, so that side that the driveway's on, that might have been a garage side, so it only maybe like half of that basement is so there's a lot of things you can kind of draw from it, but without seeing everything.
Right.
But if you figure you're taking it all the way down to studs because you've had so much water damage and structural issues, then you've got interior doors you're buying, you got doorknobs, hardware, all the lights, plumbing, electrical, things that you have to take care of. Your HVAC system, you got to take care of. Flooring, you got to take care of. Cabinets, countertops. I mean,
I don't know what it costs to build a new house in terms of per square foot, stuff like that, but
yeah, but I mean, if you're going to go in there, even, you know, at 312, I mean, like to buy that house and then demo it and then be at that cost for the land, that's no, that unless you're, because really the land factor is like a quarter of the value, overall value is for the land. So you would have to have like a $1.2 million house or something that's going to go in there.
or you'd have to buy this for 125,000.
Well, yeah, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Okay. All right. That's good to know. I didn't know that.
That's kind of the rule of thumb that I always go by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Douglas said that split levels in his area are a little harder to sell, and they are. I mean, they're not traditionally what a lot of people love because they are naturally compartmentalized. So the getting into your open spaces and stuff like people like, plus it's the stairs. You always are going up and down levels of stairs. So typically, you know, those that are kind of aging in place, they're not looking at those. You know, and like millennials, they're typically not liking them too much because it's so compartmentalized, even though you can do some changes to them, but I agree.
Can you make that into a 2-level and just get rid of the stairs and bring the front door further up? I don't know if anybody's ever done that. I was just asking.
I mean, technically you could, yeah. You know, you'd have to just do some framing and build in that whole front section where the stairs are at, and then you would
Right.
just have to, you would still end up having stairs to go down, but you just have to do them internally somewhere
Right.
different. I mean,
Or turn it into a 2-unit. Investor have 2 units.
Ooh, there you
No,
go.
yeah. Because I mean, when you look at it, you got the driveway, then you got stairs going up to the front, and then you got stairs going up to the front door, then you go inside, you got stairs going up and stairs going down. It's like, I get it.
It's got a built-in gym.
Yeah, right.
Have you got
True.
another property? Has anybody got another property? Jane and Sharon, I thought you had one to talk about.
Actually, we do. It's in Bushnell, Florida, which is kind of in the middle, rural area. There's an investor who was trying to that reached out to us that trying to do some sort of financing on it. Jane, do you have the numbers up for the? It is actually a single family house on a good amount of land, and currently they have the house rented. The man wants to was interested in owner financing the house from the owner, and there's another section where it has 3 plots already where RVs, they're all set up for RVs, and one out of those 3 is rented out, and the other 2 could, I guess they just don't have the renters in there with the RVs. Do you know how much the house is renting for and how much the RV space?
She wants 115 cash.
Yeah, she wants 115 cash, and she has it. She's financing it through a private money lender, hard money lender, and she owes 92,000 to the hard money lender.
And this was something that we said to her, what are 3 possibilities that you would look at? Like sometimes we'll give them the opportunity to say what they're looking to get, and then we try to go back at what we could do. So one of her options was pay her about 55,000 in one payment, and then take possession and ownership and take over the payments. That was one. Just taking over the payments was another one, and then we try to find a new property for them and owner finance it to them. Price range 165 to 350, so that was another thing she's looking for, or just cash her out at 115, and then they would use some of that money to find a new place.
What was the rents for of the?
I think 1,400.
Okay, he's renting the house. The family's renting the house for 1,400, and the one RV spot is being rented out for, is that 600 a month?
Yeah, I think 600.
600 a month, and there's 2 more spots that can be rented out. And the renters have been there for several years, and they did express interest in buying the house on terms.
Would you like cash or a check? That one doesn't sound like there's a lot. That sort of sounds like it's, unless there's something I'm not hearing, that's probably pretty much a no-brainer. Even if you're paying 115 cash, that's going to have, and assuming you have 50% expenses, you're still going to be probably 15,000 a year in cash flow, at least.
True.
Right, yeah.
And
That's a 10.
I was going to say it needs a new roof, but I mean, that's only what, 6,000?
Yeah. And you can do that out of cash flow unless it needs it right now really bad. So, and you can get, you can buy some fairly decent used RVs or small mobile homes. It depends on what kind of electric you have coming into those RV spaces. Have you got a 60 watt? Is that what's coming in? Do you know?
I We don't
We,
know that.
we don't, but I'm assuming it's probably the very minimum.
That, the 600 sounds high per month. Is that pretty doable, pretty reasonable in that area?
The
I-
other two aren't, the other two aren't rented, so I have a feeling that's a little high. Otherwise, those other two might, unless she just wasn't marketing it.
And we're still doing like asking for the, to see the actual numbers on the lease and some different stuff just to make sure it's
Yeah,
everything's not
Because it is,
elevated.
it is a rural area closer to the middle.
I mean, and I have no idea about Florida rents and, especially for trailer spaces and things like that, but that just seems like a lot to park an RV, but it might be a great price. I have no idea.
well, I think it depends on whether whether the RV owners own the RV or if the people
Oh, yeah,
who are renting who own the sellers own the RV and they're renting it, because that's not.
that's true. I didn't think of that. And so it does have an RV on it and the 600 includes the RV.
No, it's the person's just renting the space and it's their personal RV that they park in.
Okay.
They park
Okay.
there.
Okay.
It's 3 spaces that RVs can go on and hook up.
I think it's reasonable. You could find a small RV or things like that to sort of add in, or you can market it and get that in. But so I mean, it really depends. 600, if you're not paying electric and water, ain't bad.
That's
Absolutely,
true.
absolutely.
And insurance.
Yeah, well, insurance. Yeah, they would be paying their own insurance. Yeah. I would, with your due diligence you're talking about, but to me, that really sounds like it's a deal, you guys. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
We do, yeah. We were excited about it, and we're delving into it deeper, and then deciding, we had different ideas whether to keep it as a rental or owner finance it to that gentleman that wants to buy the house, or maybe I've never subdivided in Florida, and I don't know how hard it is to do, but subdivide and have him have a portion of the land in that house, and then like you were saying, Nicole, put a mobile homes or RVs on the other side and rent them out and keep that part. So we were like kicking around different ideas and wanted to open it up to see what you guys thought and and assuming the loan, I'm not sure. I think I would just probably be more comfortable taking the other hard money lender out.
Yeah, I
Because
would too.
I
I would bet
think-
you, I would bet your cost of money for that hard money lender is more than 10%. And
Yeah,
so basically, if you can take them out and still make 10 or 12% cash on your money, on that money, it's much better than continuing to pay the hard money lender and not
That's a
having
really-
that.
that makes a lot of sense. Plus, I think she kind of pissed him off. I think she was behind on payments and he wasn't happy with her. And I don't know if he wants to get into another situation with somebody else that she's passing the buck to. Who knows what's, going on with that
So
situation.
I've never had an RV, but how do you do with like waste and water and electric and stuff like that? Is there like a pedestal that they hook up to and there's or do you have to drive it somewhere and get rid of the waste? How does that work?
There is like you typically either if you have a RV park or something, they have like a reserve that the water it goes into that's black water and the drinking water it's like in a tank in the bottom of the RV, and then there's a hole in the ground that they put a hose down there and empty the black water, which is the sewage.
Oh, okay.
Most of the newer RV parks actually have a hookup where you can hook up the RV's sewer drainage to that. So they have water hookups, water and sewer hookups.
Okay.
And what's underneath it, it can be anything from kind of septic and well to hooking in somehow to to the community kinds of thing. So that would be something you need to look at, because that could be an issue
That's
where
true.
that wastewater is going. But otherwise, I think that's a pretty interesting deal.
And it's funny, we met this young lady who was looking at a house in Sarasota, and that was probably
Right before COVID.
before COVID. So like she hung on to our number. So again, that's why, you know, you kind of keep talking to people and keep those relationships going.
Definitely.
Doesn't Amazon have like these houses, they show up, they're kind of like a
Yeah.
container, and they just kind of fold out for like 20 grand or 30 grand.
Yep,
like
you're
that.
right. Yep.
That's true.
Boxable. It's called.
Flexible is what it's called. Oh my God, you could stack them and build an apartment building.
I don't know how many, but you
talking.
can stack them.
You can?
Yeah, they show a video of dropping a car on them and it doesn't crush them.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now you're talking.
My neighbor supposedly ordered a couple, but I don't know what's going on with, you know, when he's going to get them and where he's going to put them. So.
Well, I've also seen some pretty interesting things with the shipping containers, or the containers that go on the back of a semi,
Yeah.
turning those, because they have great framing. You just need to so you put 2 or 3 of those together and you have, you know, 1,000-foot kind of something. And I don't know what it costs, but those containers aren't that expensive.
There's an investor that's part of these groups that's Michael Hicks, that's in Rossville, Georgia, near
Oh,
Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He did that up on Lookout Mountain. It's not called Lookout Mountain, it's the other side, but the views are just incredible. I went up and looked at what he was doing. It was pretty cool little build. He put 3 containers, made 2 different houses. Pretty cool.
Yeah, he does a good job with that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, he's always doing something creative.
I've seen people put like siding on them to make them look more like a house.
Oh, yeah.
They did a whole development here in Nashville near our soccer stadium that was made out of shipping containers, a whole apartment complex.
That's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, we had stayed at a essentially a condo place that was all out of shipping containers, and they had like 25 units or something in it. It was oh geez, where was that at? Drawing a blank. But but it was 2 stories, so they had 2 shipping containers, and they had the staircase on the inside, and then but there was like, you could go in there as owners and come in together into this building and own essentially your condo out of it. That's pretty neat.
That's really cool. You know the the price points?
I don't actually. We did this one. We stayed in it. It was through an Airbnb, and it was like $150 a night or something like that.
Oh, wow. So they're getting pretty close to normal.
Yeah, and it was in the downtown area, so I mean we can walk kind of wherever. But I'm trying to remember where it's at. I'll have to ask my wife. She knows.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
They have a lot of neat stuff that goes on with them. I follow a lot of the designs that I see online, and with the shipping containers, they'll separate them out, and then they build the roof system in between the 2, and then you have like this big open space in between the 2 containers, and the 2 containers or 4 containers end up being like the bedrooms and kitchen and, you know, sector, and then they have like the main area. It's like the dining room, and then the living space, the living room.
Container mansion.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'll bet you could do that to sort of because kind of an add-on assisted living too, where you take one container for a bedroom and kind of a suite, and have a central area for common area. We were actually looking at doing something like that. I have some stuff in Panama, in Bocas del Toro area, We're
Okay.
actually looking at some land there. We're actually looking at the possibility of actually putting a couple of containers stacked on each other on pontoons and having them kind of sit out on close on the bay or on the, not on the bay, on the ocean side. There's a lot of islands around there that have, there are a lot of swampy kinds of stuff, but I don't know if you could do that, but it seemed kind of interesting to me as an idea.
That's pretty cool.
Sign us up.
I know. I would like to be part of that. That's creative.
James, there's your warm weather.
I am there. So here's a couple of houses off of Amazon. I guess this one's 800 square feet for 25 grand. It's kind of funky looking, but they have this other one here too. This one
Can you
actually
share
looked
the
really-
pic? Can you share it? What it looks like? Share the screen? Share it?
Oh, I thought I am sharing the screen. All right, hold on.
No, you've got Jane and Sharon up there.
All right, hold on.
And you're calling them funky looking, James.
That's why I said to put Bodie the dog up.
All right, is this better?
Yes.
All
Much
right.
better.
So this is like a year and a half old or something like that, I think, is what the date on it was. I mean, it's very small. It's 300 square feet for 20 grand. That's a pretty nice house.
Yeah, that's a nice, kind of small house.
1 bedroom or something like that. And then this one here, which is very funky looking, but it's only 5 grand more and it's 800 square feet. I don't know how they got 800 square feet in there, but I guess there's an extension back here for the kitchen or something, it looks like.
And it's got the solar panels. That's pretty cool.
We could put
Yeah.
7 or 8 of them up in Bushnell. Holy crap.
Yeah, you sure
Yeah.
could.
If in Anne Arundel they are considered ADUs, or they would be considered ADU if I would get one on my property and they are allowed. I don't know.
Say that again. I didn't quite hear that.
I wonder if in Anne Arundel County, if that kind of structure would be considered an ADU, an additional dwelling unit, and it can be placed on a property.
It depends on the zoning, but you may well be able to.
Yeah, you don't have to check. Some municipalities, they look at that as being modular, and then they throw that into that category because it's built off-site or brought in. So some of them have issues with there's that gray area, and they don't usually play in the gray area too well. So most of the time with ADUs, it'll be some kind of a structure built on site.
It has to. Okay, I'll double check then. Thank you.
I'm wondering also if, because there's such a demand for affordable housing, also, I know Anne Arundel, there's some really wealthy parts and some not so wealthy parts, but I'm wondering if the structure could just be, listen, we're gonna put a pad down, a concrete pad.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
we're gonna place this house on top of it, and then, it's part of the
But-
land.
You have to tie it down, make sure it's tied down, but yeah, that might be too.
Yeah, the part I think kind of what you said, Nicole, is it gets tied down. So that's kind of where they look at it as being modular.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can theoretically take and have that whole entire house like that. Because really the only thing that would be tying it to the concrete would be no different than you going in and doing the stick built. So you just bolt
True.
it down to the wall. So if you had the walls exposed, you set it down and you're just erecting it off site and bring it in. So it's, again, like I said, it's kind of the gray area. They some municipalities will be a little bit more flexible on it. Others will be like, yeah, no, that's a modular.
So in general, my experience is that if you are outside of a city limits or a town limit, what goes in the county is a whole lot easier to deal with than what deals within a city limits.
Certainly, yeah.
That's why we like to invest in the rural, the county areas instead of the cities.
Yeah. So James, can you see if they can find any container built houses?
Oh, yeah.
Because some of them are pretty interesting looking.
Yeah. Now that you say it, there is actually a place in Tampa that is a bunch of businesses that are all, what is that called? It's called the Crate.
Wesley Chapel, the Crate.
The Crate. It's called, the whole community is called the Crate, and it's not a community. It's a it's like a strip mall, and it's got movies and restaurants and stores, and it's built out of these crates, and they painted them all these bright different colors, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they got the container park like that in Vegas. They got we were actually when we were in Mexico, there's a newer mall that's there, and it's really just kind of a big open mall. And then they have their individual stores like they would, but then there's a section they had the shipping containers inside. So they're like the little 20-foot ones.
Yep.
And so each of those were like their own individual stores as well. And then they use a lot of the mini splits, HVAC systems and stuff for those inside. And it was really neat. It's kind of felt like you're inside, like, I don't know how you describe it, like you're outside, but you're inside, and they set it up where they had like green grass and play areas and stuff all in it.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Creative.
Look, 2-story.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. I mean, with what you can do with them. It's just kind of everything that you cut out, you have to reinforce
Yeah.
because you've cut out those loads.
Right.
So you have to kind of reinforce it like you would.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, huh?
Mhm.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I would be looking for something that was sort of one story though, if we can, or maybe stacked on top of each other, because otherwise you end up having to have cranes to lift them and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
right?
James, go to the go over 2 and up 1 to the 2 blue shipping containers on left and right side.
Down,
Here,
No, go up. Over to the right. That one, yeah. So that's kind of what I was talking about. There's the shipping containers on both sides. Then you have the negative space that's inside that they just go through and put the roof system over top. And that whole entire area there is all open.
That's
Mhm.
nice.
That would be nice, yeah. And I'll
so
bet you that
walk in,
wouldn't,
you have that big grandiose feeling. And then you have your individual rooms and things off to the right and left.
so you have your kind of common areas, your living room through that one too, your living room, kitchen.
Yep. Now, granted, the shipping containers are only 8 foot wide, so I mean
Yep.
those aren't really that big.
No, they're not, but affordable housing is such an issue right now.
Yes.
Well, and the thing of it is these are ways that you can help speed of execution. Like you can get into these things relatively fast because they're
Oh,
already
yeah.
got the outside structure and you just drop it in. So you can kind of really control your costs, but in the same side, that's not really what the government wants for, you know,
Mhm.
the low cost of living. You know, it's they still want something that's stick built, which it just makes it hard to go through and try to build something stick built for something that's for low income people.
But do
Yeah.
you see that? Do you see that maybe this may be the way of the future at some point?
You know, any of the kind of like what James is going through is like Amazon, you know, they have these houses. And really, when he looked at it, like Sears back in the day when they had the Sears catalogs and you could
Oh,
buy
yeah.
houses out of the catalogs, that's really kind of similar to what we're doing these days with the modular homes and all, because they're all built off site and then they're shipped to you and you just put it together, right? So, yeah, I mean, there's going to be a certain point, I think, that any government, when they're looking at the speed of execution to get to these houses, to get the lower income, they're going to have to look at a model that fits that. And then also the resources, like, you know, sometimes these shipping containers are only used once and then they sit in the yard somewhere, you know.
That's actually true for a lot of the international kinds of things, because that was one of the things we were looking at when they offload them. So there's a big town in Panama over on the Mediterranean side, not on the Mediterranean, I'm the wrong sea, on the Caribbean side, Cologne. And they have a big, they have a big port there, and they just discard the containers. They don't even do anything with them.
Yeah.
You know, so you can buy one for $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. But that, that's the thing is like when you can get something low like that and it gives you 8 feet by 20 feet or 8 feet by 40 feet, then you're talking 160 to 320 square feet just in that one box. So it wouldn't take very much. Then you have 600 something square feet. Now it's just a matter of the infrastructure of it. So
Yeah.
all the plumbing and water and insulation and all the other things that go into it.
I think that was the whole purpose originally when they started doing it, is to try to repurpose all these shipping containers that were getting scrapped and they had to do something with. So people were getting it cheap, but you are limited to the height and of that box besides your imagination when you can weld them together or connect them together and cut out sides and reinforce. To me, it's almost easier just to frame something, but there's kind of a cool factor to it. So there is that, and you have to insulate them, spray foam and stuff. But they are coming out with a lot of 3D printed houses, and I think that technology is going to continue to get better.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do those in concrete. So I mean, most of the time.
Those are a lot.
We were talking with an investor that was looking into doing that, but the price is so high still with the 3D
Yeah, 'cause
printing.
it's new technology.
Yeah.
It'll come down.
Yeah.
I had seen an article, actually, I think it was a YouTube video or something like that. And this is a little bit more modern, but basically what this gentleman had done is he'd bought some property and kind of like a mobile home park or whatever it is. He was just building these little, 600 square feet, 2 floors, 1, maybe 2 bedrooms upstairs. And just, I think it was in North Carolina, actually. I just could not keep them. They were just like selling out like incredibly fast. I'll have to try and find the video and send it to you guys. It was pretty cool. Very nice looking inside. Again, small, but 2 levels. So it actually looks like a house, a driveway, so you can park your car. But about as wide as this one, maybe not even that wide.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are minimalists and want just small little tiny houses and they're happy.
My house is a 600 square foot pool house. I moved from another county. I paid $1,000 for it.
That's awesome.
Do you still have the pool?
No, the pool went away.
Okay.
I was doing deconstruction jobs for Habitat, and they were going to demolish it to put in a 1 million square foot warehouse. So I bought it from Habitat.
Nice.
That's so cool.
Nice.
Yeah. I've been in it 18 years now.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
About time to upgrade a little, I think.
yeah, you got a few of those houses over there.
Yeah. But depending on what happens with the economy, it might be good to be in a 600 square foot house.
That's
Yeah,
true.
we're a little bit past 8:30. We got any kind of wrap up we want to do, James?
Sharon, Jane?
Yeah, I guess respect everybody's time. I appreciate you letting us know. It's hard to look at the time with the on the
Not only
phone.
that, this has been fun. A lot of
Yeah.
interaction. I like it.
It's been a great conversation.
Do you want to say something about the Virtual REI Academy website and kind of what we're doing there? Anybody?
Yeah, just we do these free things, just trying to give back, but we do really have a lot of great information on, and we're a little late to the party, but there's a lot of great investors that they're practitioners, so there are a lot of great courses on there about creative financing, building your business, legal things. Nicole has a lot of great classes on there, and we're adding some, so I can't really see what they're scrolling, but just there's I think over 45 classes and 30 instructors, and definitely it's a cup of coffee every day. I think the price is definitely way underpriced for the value you get, and just hoping some people sign up for that and get the value we're trying to provide.
I think that someone was talking about making phone calls and stuff like that. I can't remember who it was, but Charles Blair is pretty well renowned in the area. It's kind of a marketing genius. So he's one of the instructors, and he basically talks about a lot of these marketing things that he does to find leads and stuff are, I think, no cost. So, and then he's got one that's a little bit more, in terms of the marketing blueprint, but he's one of the instructors. So you have an interest there that might be a value for you.
Right, that was Carol, who's new, and And that might be a good course for you.
Exactly. And then there's some also forms and contracts in there as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is only $500 a year, you guys. I mean, you kind of, there's 20 or 30, well, it's probably about 20 different strategies you can use to, so that you have more in your pocket than just wholesaling and rehabbing.
Mhm.
So, we're thinking about it at least.
Exactly.
So
And we
I'll
just,
send you the link directly.
I love it. I've done 32 courses. I still have a little bit to go, but I love it. It's so much good information especially for new investors.
Wow, Emma, you've gone through 32
Yeah.
of the modules already? That's amazing.
Wow, that is
that's
amazing.
impressive.
I spend 45 hours almost every day on it. Yeah,
Wow, you're gonna be an
Wow.
expert very quickly.
because I like it.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? Yeah.
I think about it when I go to sleep,
Um,
when I wake up. So yeah, it's my priority for now.
That's great. I'm glad you're getting so much value out of it. And Jane and I completed a course for virtual real estate investing from afar, and that one, I guess it's
Why don't-
getting cleaned
Yeah,
up.
That's going to get put up pretty quick, isn't it, James?
Yes.
Do you have a time estimate?
No, I don't. I gotta find out what the cost is, but it shouldn't take long after we find what that is.
We're actually working on another one to head in there pretty soon.
Oh, good. And I'm working one on options, basic options, and then advanced options.
That'll be huge. That'll be huge.
That's going to be a good strategy here directly. Well, it already is, but knowing how to do it will be great.
Because not that many investors use that. Like very small percentage of investors understand it, and then even a smaller percentage actually utilize it. So you'll be ahead of the game from anybody else.
Like, it's such a powerful thing to use.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for this amazing meeting we had. We had a lot of content, a lot of interaction. We love it. We love the interaction. The
All right,
teaching.
I'm gonna sign off and I'll see you next week, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for
Thanks,
the help,
everybody.
James.
Good
Ernie,
night.
we might need to put you on the payroll.
Hey, we can talk.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.